Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander. I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, I have my co-host, Barbie, with me. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes, I am. Hello, Johnny. How are you today?
Good. Now, the topic that we chose for today is why women are addicted to crime shows.
Yes.
Or specifically murder shows, right?
Yes. I have recently seen some statistics on that, and they are not because they are weird and like to watch this, but this is the world we live amongst. And if you would ask me as a woman, because I do watch my fair share, I would say just complete just curiosity, but yet also to protect myself, to know what is going on around me, to not just go out into the world aloof, but to be completely aware of what you're walking out into. Because this is our reality, people. There was a documentary I was watching where they said that women are rampantly watching these murder shows. This is the world we're living in. We want to know what is out there. What are we facing, especially when we have children? So I think that's why they aren't enjoying what they see. They're appalled by what they see. They are in disbelief of what they're seeing. And it is so over and over and over and over and over again, the news. I did watch something. I tuned in today because of our show. I wanted to be prepared. I tuned into something from my childhood, the Green River Killer. I couldn't believe it, Johnny. I did not know that this man was known for murdering the most in U.S. history. The Green River Killer. I don't even like saying their name because that's what they sometimes want. Not always. I don't think this one wanted that, but I think younger individuals who commit murder want some recognition. They want to feel important. They want to have the spotlight for a while. But this Green River Killer, 47 victims. I was a senior in high school, and I used to drive down once every weekend to visit my boyfriend. We were dating in high school. Then he went to college. He went to Green River Community College. So I was going to that area all of the time while they were still in pursuit of this murderer. And I told my daughter about it today, and she said, "But Mom, and you were pretty, but Mom, and you worked at the Northgate Mall where he found one of his victims. She was only 15, shopping, so it wasn't just picking up prostitutes and killing them, which is horrible too. It's very horrible. It was just random. It's whoever he could get into his little truck camper. I was working there as a receptionist for an optometrist my senior year before I went off to be a flight attendant. And who knows? My daughter said, he could have looked right at you. He could have been a patient. Could have been. So I just like to, on Life, Laughter, Happiness, bring awareness to what's going on. I know people don't want to look at it. They don't want to, it's evil. I don't put that into my brain, they say.
Okay.
a Christian, they say, I don't want that in my brain. You have to know what's going on out there, people, so you can be ultra careful. What do you say about it, Johnny?
Well, okay, what it is, I thought about it since we agreed on the topic. Death is a very sobering topic. You know, you could not want to talk about it, but eventually sometimes you have to talk about it. And I think the thing that makes these crime shows interesting is that these people are being taken away earlier than they should be. You know, it's not like it's always a surprise. It's like it's when these people are taken away, and that's what I think is fascinating for them, because at least they're talking about death, but mortality, but not just mortality. How people can die and not necessarily be of old age or sick or whatever. I mean, something that is, completely wrong. And it's funny because, you were talking about people being addicted to it. My parents have been watching crime shows all the time recently.
Recently?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying, and I think that it's sort of like it's death. We think about how we're going to deal with death and how we handle death, and like, for example, nobody likes to talk about it. You know, it's a subject that nobody likes to talk about, but you were sitting around, you were saying about how you were afraid to go out of your house.
No, I did not. Johnny, you do that sometimes, and you put words.
Okay.
I said it makes a person sometimes afraid to leave.
It makes a person afraid.
But I am not afraid to leave. I come and go all day long.
Okay.
I'm not
I think
I'm aware.
There's people that are afraid to leave their houses because they can't get death out of their head. I mean, they it's like all of a sudden this person who is in the prime of their life, and then they're gone, and it's like, I think that if you think about it all the time, yeah, I guess you're right. It can make you obsessed and be afraid to leave the house.
It could be a downer, but okay, you put two things into one, really. The people who are victims, which are the family members, of course, are victims. How do they move on when their loved one has been murdered so horribly? And they may find out in court for the first time what really happened, or see photographs. That is another aspect of why I do think it becomes addicting, because people want to know, well, how are these people surviving? But all the time you're watching it, if you ever do, everyone, do you think it could happen to you? Well, yeah, those that are afraid are thinking, yeah, it can. But a lot of people go about their day and night thinking, this could never happen to me. Do you think any of those people ever thought that would happen in their world?
Yeah,
no.
I mean, it's very scary. I mean, it's like, and like another thing I was thinking about is why would someone commit murder in the first place? I mean, this isn't obviously what somebody wakes up in the morning say that they want to do with their lives,
No. Are they born with it? Some people don't believe that people are born with that. Some people do believe that there's some kind of a gene problem with it. Because like the documentary I was watching, they said, well, the dad would ride the bus with the little boy when he was 6, 7, 8 and say, hey, there's a prostitute on the street. They're the bottom of the barrel. They're scum of the earth. They're horrible. And and point that out over a couple years. And then one day the dad said, you're going to wait in the car. And the boy knew that the dad was going to hire a prostitute and made the boy wait in the car. So then the boy got all messed up. But I was talking to my daughter today. She's going to be 17 Sunday. And we both were saying, yeah, but that is no. And those are not the ingredients right there to make a serial killer. But somehow that made one with a couple other little things. I like it when I can watch the courtroom drama to where I can find out what made this person tick. That will prepare you more. That will, you can protect yourself more. If you know that no matter what a person looks like, they could still murder you, then you are doing well with that.
Well, I want to tell you something else. I don't know if you realize this. I've seen this before, but do you remember? This is not a tangent. Okay. Do you remember the old dating game show?
Yes, I do.
Okay. There was an episode of the dating game where they had a serial killer on the show.
I remember. Who was that?
I don't remember who it was, but they had a serial killer on as one of the guests.
Yes. I saw that. I wish we could remember who that turned out to be. It wasn't Ted Bundy. He's another one from my hometown, Seattle. You know, my dad did a really good thing by telling me about a specific crime. And he told me about this crime, and it stuck with me, and it made me to where I would not get into a car with a stranger or trust a stranger just for a ride.
Mm-hmm.
It was the guy who picked up a hitchhiker, but the few other friends that were hitchhiking decided, nah, we don't even we're feeling kind of uneasy about it, but she said, I'm not. So she got in by herself into this van. He cut her arms off and threw her under a little bridge on the highway. And she lived. I was told this story, but then probably 25, 30 years later, I'm just nonchalantly watching the news, and there is the victim, and she's in court because the man actually came up for parole, and believe it or not, he was let free. Nobody wanted him in their town, so he got a trailer on the outskirts of the prison and lived his life there. I couldn't believe that, but I couldn't believe when I was watching it, I realized that is the story my dad told me so many years before. And it's good, though, people. You must choose a story. Choose a very, 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 very bad story and tell your children about it so it sticks in their mind. Might be bad advice, but I'm thinking it's good advice. It sticks in their mind to where they are not going to get into the car, because getting into a person's car, for some reason, it usually is over at that point. I'm thinking, hey, open the door, roll out, jump out. Any injury like that would be better than what they're going to do to you. Sometimes people cannot get out. They rig the door handle. So just don't get in. If you're listening, don't get into a stranger's vehicle. What about this, Johnny? I was telling you about last Friday when we had Psychic Dell on.
Right.
We were talking about this person who was trying to date me, and I didn't know him just because he met a girlfriend of mine somewhere in a faraway land, and they had a conversation briefly for about 30 minutes, and apparently they decided that he and I would be a great match. That right there does not mean that guy's safe. Okay?
Right.
That right there does not mean that. So I'm facing this right now, everybody. I'm facing, if this person comes and visits me, just because he met this person that I know and they had a cute little conversation and, oh, it must be serendipity. I'm still very cautious right now. This is what I would do. If the person does come to town to meet me, I would take my own vehicle or get an Uber to the restaurant to meet them. Then, what if that goes well? How many dates do you think I should go on before I feel comfortable getting in this person's vehicle alone with them? Johnny.
Wow. Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it's sort of like when you're telling me all this, it sort of raises my defenses. So it's hard to say. I mean, it's like in the times like when I haven't been able to get a hold of you, I automatically think strange things. I do sometimes because I worry about you being hurt. So I don't know the answer to that.
Just be careful. Be very careful. How do we really know? Maybe there are things we can do. Maybe we can get a hold of somebody they know and let them know that I'm out with them, their mother, brother, sister, whomever, but just not just a sole person should know about your whereabouts. My camp should know. I should find somebody in his camp to let them know I'm with this person, to make that person, if they do have a murder gene in them, that they would know, hey, I'll be found out. I will be found out. Okay, that's the key right there. Make sure that that person you are with will be found out, because people know where you are on their side and your side. I think that would be good. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I don't want to miss an opportunity. What if he is a fantastic guy? What if this is meant to be? What if, I am just so afraid of everything that I just don't take advantage of my opportunities of things like this? So it's a fine line. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever had somebody that gave you goosebumps that you didn't like for some reason?
Oh, I've felt that horrible cold feeling from many people throughout my life. And listen to that. I think that a lot of the counselors, psychics, people like that out there would say, listen. Don't they always say that, Johnny? They're always saying, listen to your gut instinct.
Right.
And do it, because you know what? If you do and you say, hey, I don't want to go, I'm not up for that right now, if they really are meant to be, they'll keep coming back. They'll find a way into your life and vice versa. So you can never be too cautious.
No. I mean, I guess, I guess it must make you scared. Like, do you ever think back to a situation where you thought your life was threatened?
Yes, but I've talked about that on the show.
Oh, I didn't.
Where a girlfriend and I actually did take a quote-unquote modeling gig to go to the Super Bowl and drive from Nashville, Tennessee, all the way to New Orleans for that, and we were very uncomfortable when we got there. We controlled the situation. We felt we were very young, 20 years old, so even though you're not a teenager, you're still young in your early 20s. You really have a false sense of security, I think, at that age. So all I can say is stress to your children, your adult children. Always say, be careful, watch your back. Don't get in the car. Well, we did, and we went all the way to New Orleans, and we came back, and he got weird with us on the way back, and we pummeled him. I told you that on a show recently. We pummeled him. We kicked the heck out of that guy. We did. We kicked him. So we got out okay. I've told you a lot of stories about murder near me.
I know. It's
We'll have to put
so
a
good.
playlist together for YouTube.
It's very sobering. I mean, have you ever given your daughter any advice about that?
All the time. All the time. In fact, I feel in my gut that she's going to be fine because of that fact that I always tell her. The reason I do watch these things is because I need to know what's going on out there. I need to always be reminded of it as well. Even though I don't want to think about it, I need to be reminded because I am the guardian of you, young, beautiful, impressionable teen. I am the guardian of you. And whatever it takes, if I have to go through documentaries after documentaries and all these shows every single day to be reminded that I am your guardian and I have to protect you from these evil people. By the way, they look so normal. They look like, and they are
do.
normal. They are living normal lives. They're married. They have kids. They're stepdads. They're nice. They don't raise their voice. They're wonderful. And the minute they walk out that door, they change into something else. So I feel like I'm doing my due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, because it's murderers, though, like Ted Bundy looked normal. So did Jeffrey Dahmer.
Actually good looking. Both of them were actually very attractive males. I want to ask you something, Johnny.
What?
In your family history, have you ever had an unsolved murder mystery going on?
No, not that I'm aware of. No, I mean, there haven't been any unsolved murders, but it's been more like, I think they've lived sort of, like my mom's family, they lived a pretty sheltered life, you know, and my father's family, as you know, is from Cuba, so no, that there hasn't really been one.
And we know the worst of it is in America for some odd reason.
The worst is in particular locations?
Yes, there's more serial killers in America statistically. But guess what, Johnny?
What?
My family has an unsolved murder. In our family, we have that.
What's yours?
My grandma's brother was murdered, and the murder was never solved. And she loved him, Uncle Butch. She loved him so much. He was such a great brother, a great guy. He was wonderful, and he was murdered, and nobody knows who did it.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, how did you know how he died, or?
Actually, I don't, and I need to call some family members and find out. Me not knowing, that's because it's like my mom's mom, so that's my grandma, her brother. So I'm sure if it was my mom's brother, I would know, but just being that far away, the distance, it kind of got lost. So
who are you going to call?
I could call my mom's brothers. She has a couple of brothers. and they may know more info, and I think I will. Do you want me to find
Sure.
out more about it? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because it matters. Because Uncle Butch was a great guy, and he was murdered, and nobody knows anything. And maybe I could reopen that cold case.
Was he shot or?
I'm thinking so, but I don't want to say if I'm not for sure right now.
Or
And I was talking to my mom about it. She's passed away now, so she knew all the details. I didn't get those from her. I know Uncle Dick, her brother, probably knows everything, so I'll ask him or Uncle Greg, and I'm going to do that. But our title to the show was Why Women Are Addicted to Crime Shows, something like that. And
right.
I think this is why. They're addicted not just because, ooh, this is so fun to watch. No, it's horrible to watch. We don't want it in our psyche. We are moms. I think that's why. Because we are moms. Well, some aren't. So we are sisters. We are daughters. And most of the time it's happening to women.
Yeah. I mean, it is a vulnerable situation, you know.
Well, when we get done with this show, I'm going to pray, and I'm going to pray for everyone that we know and all of our loved ones and everybody in the world, that they're safe and that maybe they would get something from this show and be even safer because they're watching their back, which they need to do. These men, these women, they look just like ordinary folks who are doing these things.
I know. I mean, it's sad that somebody, you know, it's like it's never who you think. That's the thing. You know, they don't think, oh yeah, he killed everybody. Oh, that's the way it happens. Yeah, it's always whenever they talk about the person, they always say this person was shy. You know, have you noticed that?
Yes, I feel like it's a lack of love that the person felt. Maybe, not so sure, but if they don't feel listened to or loved or acknowledged, acknowledgement is a lot. So I think that we need to acknowledge. What are we going to do? Tell the world that we have mothers on heroin and all kinds of drugs and fathers and broken families and kids are hungry and they're seeing all kinds of things out there. All we can do is pray, but be aware of your surroundings. I don't care if it's in the middle of the day. I see people nonstop just walking in a straight line, looking down at their phone. Anything could happen. You know, one day I was just 1 block from my apartment having a little pasta at a cafe. Broad daylight. I see a man accost literally an 80-year-old woman and yanking on her hands. And I'm running over there, running. She's like, oh, help. I run over there. The guy flees. The guy was trying to pull diamond rings off of her fingers. Broad daylight, L.A., Beverly Hills.
Well, do you want to do the shout-out?
Yes. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening on this Tuesday night. We appreciate it. We hope you got a lot out of this show and are going to be aware, very careful, and teach that to everybody around you. And to find out more about us, please join Life, Laughter, Happiness on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We even have a private account on Facebook if you would like to share there and have more of a small private group to discuss your issue with. But make sure you do follow us on Blog Talk Radio to get all of our show alerts. But generally, we do a show every Tuesday and Friday. So we will see you on Friday for Psychic Night with Psychic Dale Shear. Until then, have a wonderful and safe night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.